a woman charged with murder after she allegedly fired a gun several times inside the Portland International Airport. Made her first court appearance today. Laura Patterson is charged with a number of crimes, including attempted murder. KATU's Joe English has been in the courtroom keeping up on this today. And Joe, it turns out the murder charges are not about firing the gun inside the airport, right?
Right. The district attorney's office says those murder charges come from threats that Patterson made to kill her family. And this was after she was arrested, after allegedly firing those shots in the airport. Meanwhile, her public defender says since nobody was hurt in all of this, well, she shouldn't be held any longer than usual.
Laura Patterson's accused of firing shots into the ceiling outside a PDX checkpoint restroom about 11 o'clock Tuesday night. Witnesses told police passengers and workers scattered and ducked for safety. Now, firing that gun is one of 10 charges for Patterson, but her public defender says the alleged gunshots don't add up to attempted murder.
The fact that it suggests that it was fired into the air, I think, does not suffice to give rise to probable cause that this was an attempted murder.
Deputy Assistant District Attorney Nathan Vasquez says after Patterson was arrested, she told investigators she wanted to kill her family because they're pedophiles and aware of the sexual abuse but are covering it up. Now, Patterson has one cousin in Oregon, 3 other relatives in Texas.
Ms. Patterson has expressed homicidal ideation towards her family members. What we're talking about with an attempted murder is, did she take substantial steps to that end? And the answer here is clearly yes. She has expressed that.
Patterson was not a ticketed passenger on any flight, and a man who says he talked to her after he heard those gunshots says she told him she dropped her gun, and that's when it went off.
So whether it was an accident or not, well, I had a longer conversation with the witness that had told me about her dropping her gun. More on that coming up. And also, we're going to look at whether a gun actually could go off if you dropped it on the ground. More on this case on KATU News tonight at 6 o'clock. In front of the Justice Center, Joe English, KATU News.
Okay, Joe, thank you. A Washington woman accused of shooting a gun in the concourse of PDX earlier this week was allegedly out to kill her family. That's what the district attorney's office revealed in court today as Laura Patterson made her first court appearance. KATU's Joe English is live outside the Justice Center downtown, and you got to look at those court papers. Patterson's been telling a lot of different stories.
Yeah. Well, I talked to a man today who was at the airport who said Patterson told him she dropped the gun, and that's when it went off. And that there were gun experts, though, I also talked to today who said, well, that could happen. It's not impossible, but not very likely, especially if you're talking about more than one shot. And witnesses say they did hear 2 shots. And then Patterson later told police she fired that gun so she wouldn't go kill her family.
Court documents say Laura Patterson has had an urge to kill her family for years. She called them pedophiles who were hiding the truth. She has a cousin in Oregon and 3 other relatives in Texas. Patterson told investigators she drove to Portland and would drive to Houston if she needed to. That's why the DA brought attempted murder charges against her.
She has expressed that. She has traveled. She has brought forth the means and the tools of which to carry out that homicidal ideation.
Investigators say Patterson had a .38 caliber handgun, and they found 2 new boxes of 50 rounds of ammunition in her bag, along with several old expired driver's licenses. Now, Patterson's public defender says it all still doesn't add up to attempted murder charges, especially the way the gun was fired into the air, not at anyone.
That shot was heard by nearby people, but not that anyone was actually close to being hit. It occurred at after 11 p.m. Before going through security, making it unlikely that there were people or that there was a big crowd that was usually there. And the fact that it suggests that it was fired into the air, I think, does not suffice to give rise to probable cause that this was an attempted murder.
Portland airport officials told detectives it would cost more than $10,000 to fix the damage in the ceiling. Patterson's also charged with 3 more felonies: criminal mischief, possession of a weapon in a public building, and unlawful use of a weapon.
Now, Patterson is from Kennewick, Washington. Nobody was hurt in the shooting, and the judge turned the case over to the grand jury for review. That will happen November 27th. at the Justice Center. Joe English, KATU News.
Thank you, Joe.